finally game week. So kicking off, I guess last weekend was officially the kickoff, but 150 years of college football, and I thought that was a great job by ESPN on the special there. It's time to find out where we're at. Start talking about JMU. Talked about them yesterday on the teleconference. Proud football tradition, know the program well from my time in what was the old Atlantic 10, now the CAA. Preseason, depending on what magazine or what poll you're looking at, they're either first or second in the FCS. They returned 20 and 22 starters in a veteran football team. Probably as much experience as any team that I've lined up and played against as an assistant or a head coach. Head coach Kirk Signetti, I think it's significant. His first game at James Madison. He's also a Morgantown High grad and a West Virginia grad. Dad, obviously. I caught some of Tony's interview with his dad last night. Dad being the head coach here. And I'm sure this is a special game for him for a variety of reasons. When you look at it offensively, when James Madison has the ball, Coach Signetti is a guy that has an offensive background. I thought they did a really good job last year at E-line. And then their OC, Shane Montgomery. He's been a head coach, been an offensive coordinator for a long time. He's had several successful runs as a coordinator. And also, I think their offensive line coach, I've known him for a while. He's very well respected and done a really good job wherever he's at. I think it all starts at quarterback. Pitt transfer. I like him a lot on film. He doesn't get rattled. I think he's a better athlete than probably what people give him credit for sometimes. He's accurate. I think he does a good job when they move the pocket. At running back, I think it's position of strength for them. I think it's similar to us. They've got 3 or 4. It's going to be by committee. They got some guys that can really run. They're good at tight end. The Stapleton kid is, he's probably 6'4 plus. He's 240 pounds. Does a great job blocking at the line of scrimmage, but he's also versatile. And they got him the ball last year. Staff got him the ball very effectively. He's a good player. Wide receiver, 2 of the 3 leading receivers will play. The kid that really sticks out to me is the Dean kid, number 17. I think he's talented. I think he reminds me a lot of Sean Ryan, which I think is good for our guys. But I think he's talented. Made a bunch of big plays for him last year. I can see them using the Pope kid who transferred from Penn State, who I know got several touches for Penn State back in 2017. And I think offensive line-wise, I think they returned 4 starters. They got depth there. They'll probably play 6 or 7 guys. And I'm impressed with those guys. I think they're well coached. They've done a good job. If you look at them defensively, top 5 unit in the country last year in FCS. Their DC comes from Maine. Maine was one of the top ranked defenses in the FCS as well. They're talented. I think it starts with their D line. They have 2 defensive ends that I think could be potential NFL players. Number 7 is the smaller of the 2. Daka, I don't know exactly how you say that. Probably should look at the pronunciation guide, but he's got a lot of speed off the edge. He can cause some problems. And then the Carter kid is big and strong. I think he's a guy that's versatile enough to go inside, play outside. He's a guy that caused a lot of havoc last year. If you look at them at their linebacker position, the Holloway kid, I know he's preseason All-American several different ways, made a bunch of plays last year. He's talented. And then the secondary, they returned the Robinson kid, that missed all last year. He's on every All-American FCS list. He's talented, going back and watching him play in 17. And then they've got a couple safeties. The Amos kid is a preseason All-American as well. Special teams, I think, is going to be a huge factor in this game. They're experienced at punter. They've got an Australian punter also. He sprays the ball all over the field. Does a good job. The place kicker was extremely accurate. Under 40 yards last year. So that's a weapon. And then they've got the special teams player of the year and Amos as a punt returner. So we've got to make sure we know where he's at. We've got to do a good job covering punts. And they did a solid job on kickoff return as well. So wrapping it up, tough opening opponent. I think it's been well documented. Looking forward to it. I appreciate our fans for selling out the stadium here on opening weekend. I think it shows the passion that our fan base has. And it's going to be a tremendous atmosphere. It's family day here. I want to take a second and just encourage our students, encourage our student body. I really believe, I've spoken to several different student factions here as school has started. I firmly believe that the students set the tone for the entire stadium. So I encourage our students to show up and show up early, be loud, stay at the game. And I think another note too is we had this group out of practice, I guess last week. It's the 20th year of the Mountaineer Maniacs, and they do a great job of really creating an atmosphere at our stadium. So I appreciate them. So with that, I'll open it up for questions.
Neal, with this being Signetti's first game there, what challenges do you have going into a season opener against a team that's got a coach that's coaching in his first game?
Well, the challenges are significant, I think, any first game. Because even if you're playing somebody that's been there for a while, everybody changes during the off season. You study and learn. But I think it's a challenge for them, just like it's a challenge for us. I mean, we're sitting here, we're watching film from where Signetti was last year at E-line. You're watching film from where the offense coordinator was at Charlotte. You're watching film from where the defense coordinator was at Maine. Special teams coordinator was at Mercer. Then, oh, by the way, you got to watch the JMU personnel, so it's a lot of going on in your head as you watch it. But they're going through the same thing too. So I think what happens in these opening games, you go back to your strengths and whatever you feel like your players do well. That's what you really try to emphasize early on.
So you have all that information, but you don't want to hand everything to the players or you're overloaded, right? So
yeah.
How do you sort of parse it down?
You want them to play fast. I think every college football coach in the country that's opened up this weekend understands that, you go out and you're playing in your first real game, the real test is you're going to find some things that don't go exactly the way you want it to be. And so for us is we want our guys just to play fast. Let's not try to think too much. Let's try to put them in a position where they can react and not think. And that's going to be our goal, and that's what we hope to achieve.
Looking at the stats here, last year, James Madison didn't get only one game where they gave up 200 yards rushing with Elon. Can you get anything from what Kirk did to them? Is there anything you can get from that?
Yeah, I think so. They did a really good job. Now they ran it 40 plus times to get that. If I'm 40. Yeah. So we looked at that film. I mean, for sure. I've actually during the course of the summer where I spent a lot of time on them, I kind of watched every game that E-line played on offense. Watched some E-line defense as well because I think there'll be some carryover there too. Watched every game that Maine played on defense. So did I watch that game? Yes. Did it have some added significance? I'm not sure.
How important will your depth be in a game against the Jam?
Well, you hope so. It's we've got some depth on the D line, and so I think they're going to want to play with some tempo. So to counter that, you have to have some depth on the defensive line. So we do. We're going to try to play 2, maybe 3 deep across the defensive line, and then you hope as an offense you can withstand some drives where you make especially their D line, have to play more reps than they want to.
Follow up on that. You talk about the differential in scholarships. You think that's oversold in the sense that they can break those up a little bit and get creative with them? Maybe find some money elsewhere. The 85 to 63 is not really a true 85 to 63.
Yeah. And we're not playing with 85 either, so I do think so. I think it is. They can divide it up. I don't know what their total number is. You'd have to ask Coach Signetti what they have on scholarship, but I think they'd probably be closer to us, And the other thing too is you can, I don't want to get into how scholarships count or whatever, but nobody really cares. But but I will say this: I think they have a lot of quality players. And one takeaway I was asked this yesterday is, I've been at the FCS level, I've been at the Group of 5 level the last 4 years, so I understand what their mentality is in that locker room right now as far as coming into what's going to be a tremendous atmosphere in the Big 12 stadium. Is because their players, and rightfully so, in a lot of instances, believe that they should be playing in these Power 5 conferences, and they're eager and they're going to be hungry to show they have that ability.
What is it going to be like? Because you've really never been on this side of the equation. You're usually the guy bringing them in.
Well, I've been as an assistant coach, but not as the head coach. I think that, to be honest, Alex, we're so young that I'm going to be worried about what we're doing. You know what I mean? Like, if we had an experienced team, I would be much more worried about opening it up against an FCS opponent. Okay, we're young, all right. According to some of the NFL stuff, they have more NFL prospects than we do. So it's like I don't think we have to worry one bit about our guys overlooking anybody or not respecting their game. Because all you got to do is turn on film. If you're an offensive player, you turn on film and you see the Robinson get playing corner, that's a Big 12 player. You watch 2 defensive ends, those are Big 12 players. They've got multiple ones. I could say the same with some guys on offense as well.
How has Austin reacted the last week or so since being named the starter? Have you seen development there?
Well, what I've seen him do is probably be more vocal, just because he knows it's now his offense, so he's been more vocal.
How was your dress rehearsal? Saturday, I think.
Yeah, yeah. To be honest, that's probably Chuck. It's probably as much for the coaches as anything. You know, our first game here, so we treated it like a game. You know, went to the hotel, did a man trip, pretended like we had recruits in, and really we had a full Power 5 officiating crew here, and went through a lot of game situations. Not real hard on the guys' legs. Wasn't any scrimmage type atmosphere. It was more just walking and talking, going through scenarios.
From all those pregame things that you went through, did you learn anything that you might change or tweak?
Nothing that y'all probably be interested in. The man trip's going to take a little longer than we had planned. I mean, you know, there's some difficulties getting recruits back and forth, so but I mean, nothing of note.
You know, when you're as young as you are, and some guys are going to have to play. I'm curious how you manage that. Do you try to protect a little bit, or you just play what you play and
Nah.
work it
I-
out?
I'm the other way, Mike. I want to play these guys, and even to the point, and I understand where our assistant coaches are and our coordinators are. You always want to play the guys that have experience, just because it's a little more comfortable. You've seen how they react on tape. As the head coach, since I've been a head coach, I'm the opposite. I'm like, hey, if a guy's going to play, let's maximize that he's going to play. So if we're making a decision that, hey, the kid's not going to redshirt, or this is going to be one of the 4 games he's going to play, even if we plan to redshirt him, he needs to play. So I'm constantly saying, okay, coach, what series or what play is so-and-so going in the game? So I think you got to push him into action, especially early in the game.
You're like that as an assistant.
No, I probably like them. You know what I mean? But it's one of those things you kind of learn, because I know this, like, are our young players going to make mistakes? Absolutely. I can deal with it as long as they play, as long as they're straining and playing with perfect effort, I can deal with that. But I think let's get them in the game early, because there's going to be some uneasiness. And it's a lot easier for them to get out of that nervousness early in the game than it is if they have to play meaningful snaps late.
With that said, have you said how you want to handle the red shirts for the 4-game kids? You hold a couple.
What we're doing is, so what we'll do is, it's kind of as we go through the year. And so we've got guys that we've designated that are going to play in this opener. And honestly, there'll be fewer of these that we play in the opener, just because we come into this game relatively healthy. You know, very few guys out. So we try to hold those guys we know we want to play for 4 games. We try to hold them to a little bit later.
Besides Drayshawn, what is your health situation?
Yeah, I think we're in pretty good shape. You know, we got to get through Tuesday and Wednesday, because those are big work days for us. Right now, the only person that I'm prepared to say that's out is Drayshawn.
I'm sure you haven't been home a whole lot this week, and probably won't be this whole week, but what's it like around your house now? Is there excitement, the kids handling it?
Well, Dax has no idea that we're going to play games, so that's positive. Now the kids are good. We started school last week, and they're excited. You know, Brooks trying to figure out normal mom stuff. She's trying to figure out where to park and how to get the kids here. Father-in-law had hip surgery, so we're figuring out how we can get him wheeled in here. So, but they're excited. You know, the kids are excited. First game day here in Morgantown, so they're looking forward to it.
What do you think will keep you up Friday night?
Friday night I'll be good. It's more of this Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday as we go through the preparation. It's just the unknowns in the first game. That's the biggest piece. Is as a coach, you always want to prepare your players the best you can. And first game is so difficult because there's so many unknowns. You know, we think we have an idea what James Madison's going to do, but honestly, they could come in here and be totally different in all 3 phases than what we expect. So we've got to be simple enough or versatile enough, how you're going to look at it, to be able to counter whatever they're going to show to us. So I think it's the unknowns more than it is the knowns. Like, I've got a pretty good, there'll be some surprises, both pleasant and negative, positive and negative surprises in the game. But overall, I think I have a pretty good feel of what we are right now. We got to go see it in game action, but I think I got a pretty good feel for it.
Do you think Kurt's feeling the same way?
I don't know. You'd have to ask him. You know, I felt the same way all 5 years. Last even in 17, we had not as experienced as this JMU team, but we had a really experienced team. coming back at Troy, and we went out and laid a complete egg at Boise State. Should have won the game, had opportunity to win the game, didn't win the game. And I thought we were really ready to go. So there's always some surprises, you know. And obviously, y'all heard me say this, like there are some real positives about having a young team, you know, and like they're going to be excited to play. You know, I don't think effort's going to be an issue for us. You know, it's handling situations, adversity, something that doesn't go, something that's not the exact same as we showed them in practice. It occurs on the field. How do they react? All of a sudden, we give up a big play. How do we react? Okay, those are the things that we've got to just go out and find out.
With Josh Sells at center, obviously named him the starter, there's something there, but how's that progression coming along?
It's been good. You know, he's. I think it's been good. I think it's been a positive move for him too. You know, it's increased his awareness. I think it's increased his leadership role. He has his study habits have improved greatly because now he has to handle all the communication on the offensive line. He's playing a better pad level than he ever played with at guard. You know, he has an opportunity to affect every single play now when he's playing at center. So I think it's a move that, while he volunteered to do it, it was something he's a little unsure of probably initially. I think it's something that he's really enjoyed.
You know, you like your wide receivers now, but how do you feel about what you've been able to whip up from slot and inside that?
Yeah, so I've been pleased with TJ Simmons. I like his physicalness inside there. You know, people talk about in the run game, you know, your offensive line and tight ends all the time, but I think really in spread formations, your slot receivers are really important. Tevin Bush has been a guy that's been up and down. You know, he has really explosive skills when he gets in space. I think you saw that in limited action last year, but he's one of our most explosive players. We need him to be more consistent. And I'm hoping he has a good week and can show that in the game on Saturday and as we move through this season. We're still looking, you know, for who's going to play behind TJ. You know, it's been a competition all fall camp, all spring. And I think it'll carry in. It's going to be a week by week basis, kind of Randy Fields, Isaiah Esdale, those kind of guys.
It's two different spots in your depth chart. So two different players. And four.
Yeah. For how we're using them, it is.
You know, your leadership council, what are your goals, you know, to get out of those guys, and what's your interaction like with them, you know, say during the regular week?
Yeah, well, we spend a lot of time. We don't name it until after spring ball. And it's really our players vote on that. We've got final approval as coach staff, but 95% of the time I just go with how they voted and treat all summer as a training session. Try to train them how to be leaders, how to lead that specific group, try to prepare them for things I think are going to come up as we move into fall camp and into the season. And then we sit down once a week. Sometimes it's about really important issues. Sometimes it's about, hey, what do you want at Friday night dinner? All right, we're going to go to a movie on Friday night. What do you want to watch? You know, what it does is it allows feedback, me to give them feedback, all right, me to tell them why, and they can go share with their teammates on certain things. It allows them to give me direct feedback, you know, because some things that are important to 17, 18, 19-year-olds sometimes aren't necessarily important to me, you know. So, hey, coach, can we listen to this during pregame? Fine with me. Does that make you play better? Let's do it. You know, you want ice cream Friday night? No problem. We can do that. You know, I mean, but there's some important things that go along there too. Hey, we got this issue. I think this is a player issue. This is a certain type of issue. I think it's better dealt with if you all handle it as players. You know, so for instance, like we had an instance where our locker room was a mess for the first few days of fall camp. I said, here's the deal, guys. Y'all handle this, and I told the leadership council, y'all handle it as far as making sure guys are cleaned up after themselves, or y'all stay late and y'all clean it up, or we're going to have to handle it as a team. Well, ever since I told them that, we've had zero issues.
Neal, you got your pregame talk to your team in your mind yet?
Yeah, I'm a real short pregame guy. I think if you're not ready to play by the time kickoff's coming out, it's usually pretty short. It's hey, I love you, I appreciate you, and I mean that. And I tell them why I do both of those things, and I just tell them I tell them to have fun. Usually have one, whatever our theme for the week is. I usually say that, and I say let's roll.
Is that different from Troy or
No, it's the
your
same.
first time? I mean,
No, it's the same.
same.
Yeah, it's the same. I mean, but there's some important things that go along there too. Hey, we got this issue. I think this is a player. This is a certain type of issue. I think it's better dealt with if you all handle it as players. You know, as you get closer to games, I speak less and less to them. And because they're ready to play pregame. You know what I mean? There's nothing, and if they're not, there's nothing I can say the minute before we walk out.
What's the decision-making process and what coaches are going to be with the box?
What's the
Coaches
significance?
go upstairs.
Yeah, that's a really good question. So I'll talk about it from just an offensive standpoint, how we do it. Is you always want eyes at certain positions. You want eyes in the box and eyes on the field, okay? So you have somebody that, whether it's all the headset rules have changed now too. You got 23 headsets. It's really kind of complicated. It takes a lot of planning how you're going to manage those headsets. But anyway, so let's take the offensive line for example. All right, you want your O-line coach on the field because you need to be able to make adjustments. All right, in between series, but he can't see the whole field. He usually can see about half of it on the sideline that he's on. So he needs somebody's eyes in the box to see the other side and just look at it through the defensive standpoint, because the O-line coach on the field is looking at it from the offensive standpoint. Does that make sense? So you try to do that, and that's what we do defensively as well. I've got a guy that will tell, like Coach Reagan will tell me down distance and hash every single time. Because as I'm thinking about what's the next play I'm going to call, I'm thinking, hey, you got left hash plays, you got right hash plays. Significant different call between 3rd and 2, 3rd and 5.
Will you have permanent captains or will that be a weekly?
But we're going to do it weekly. Yeah, we'll do week to week.
One more question? Okay, thanks, Coach.